Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Black Mirror Season 4, Episode 1. It's called USS Callister. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. And of course, we're back with Black Mirror. It's been a year and 2 months. It was October last year, we had Season 3. So it's been a while.
Too long. It's always too long.
We'd been predicting frequently for the last 3 months when season 4 was going to hit, because we knew it was nearly finished. They had so much photos from all the episodes done, and we knew we were getting close. But they eventually announced it was going to be the 29th of December, so we're here right in at the last couple of days of the year starting this. And so here we are. So this is the first episode. This is the Star Trek episode. Which, from the very first teaser, we saw there was one in a spaceship, and we were like, okay, so this is the one we started with. And I think this, I'm glad I didn't pay too much attention to any synopsis coming out or anything like that.
I've not read it. I watched the very first trailer, the one where there was not the one that did the episode titles, the one after that was just the quick snippets of each episode.
It was 5 seconds of each episode or something like that.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I went. That's all I know about any of them, really.
Yeah, I wanted to go in cold as possible to all these episodes. So it's funny actually. This episode starts so much like the start of Galaxy Quest. It is unreal.
It does. I actually thought from it, I was like, are they doing Galaxy Quest? I'm fine if they are, but is that what they're doing?
Because it starts off with the old 4x3, it looks like an old TV show, and it's we have our characters on the bridge, and they're fighting this bad guy in space, and the whole thing is how great the captain is. Robert Daly's trust me, and everyone else is freaking out, especially the science officers no, trust me, go through that gas and then fire them because it'll make our torpedoes stronger or our photons stronger, and they destroy the bad guy's ship. And the music gets cheery. He kisses two of the female crewmates. I was like, okay. The first time I was like, okay, we're making fun of Shatner. Then he does it again. Oh, we're really making fun of Shatner now.
Can I just say it really hit me it's less clear later on in the episode, but in this scene here where the picture's a bit shittier because it's emulating this old look.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse Plemons proper looks like Shatner in this moment. Just as the image in general, he kind of looks like it.
Okay, sure. Honestly, I can't necessarily jump on board with this because in my head he'll always be Fat Damon from Fargo season 2.
No, that's fair. I think it's just the image in general there. It's no, okay, he looks like that part. He looks like it.
I actually thought it was very well done. It looked authentically like an old TV show.
It did.
So that was impressive. But then it cuts to the sort of main story where it's he's a normal guy. Daly's just this normal sort of schlub. He's coming into this office building. We see that the alien girl who was on the bridge is actually the receptionist at this company, and she's really sort of dismissive of him, doesn't pay attention, lets him in. And the next little chunk, I actually thought it subverted my expectations once or twice here, because I honestly, up until he got to his office, I don't think there was any indication whatsoever that he was technically one of the founders of this company.
No, there wasn't, because everyone's just kind of treating him like shit.
Yeah. He runs into all these various people, and the guy's, the guy who usually drives the ship, he's making the coffee, and he's like, "Oh, are you making coffee? Can you make me one?" And he's sort of hesitant, but he's like, "Sure. What do you want?"
Which is really weird. Any company usually it's oh, the boss asked you to make coffee. Yeah, okay, you're probably just going to do it.
Yeah, and he trips over the bag, and the guy's nice about him. In fact, the actor, the guy who ends up being the villain in the sci-fi section, he was in Ingrid Goes West just recently, and he was a douchebag in that. Okay. So as soon as I saw him, I'm like, okay, he's a douchebag character. Okay, he just has that look about him, and yeah, so
a lot of douchebags. It's Black Mirror.
Yeah, but we see all these faces that we saw on the bridge in various capacities. We see that the one who in particular was very scared of the villain and wanted to turn themselves in, he's actually the boss. Technically, they're both bosses, but we see him behind... Before we even realise that Daly's one of the bosses, we just see him behind the door with the manager sign and all the rest of it. It's okay, so that's why he's the dweeb in the fantasy. It's because...
Yeah, it's a power move.
Yeah. But he gets into his office, and I'm like, oh, he's got an actual office. I was surprised at that.
Yeah, then, you see the sign on the door.
Yeah, and I'm like, huh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, and he's like CTO. I'm like, okay, so he's pretty high up in this thing.
Yeah, and then we find out later, of course, that he's actually the brains behind everything this company does. This video game they make, this virtual reality thing, which, by the way, the tech in this Is this the same tech as Playtest from last year?
I was thinking that
The
it
little
feels
thing?
like an evolution of it, doesn't it?
It does, and I think I think this is intentional because they've kind of done this before, where they have elements that seem like they've been taken from other episodes, and I think it's interesting that that reminds me of that episode, and then there's something else later on. Uh, a big part of this reminds me a little bit of White Christmas, one of the concepts in that.
Mm.
So I think it's interesting that they're kind of taking the old ideas, but they're doing something different with them and saying, okay, how can we take those again and mush them together and do
Yeah,
something else?
definitely.
But more than that when we actually get to what I mean by that White Christmas reference. But MC's in his office and like, well, there's this new girl, Nanette, who I reckon also from Fargo, but this time Fargo season 3. She was
Yes.
the cop who befriends Carrie Coon's character. She's trying to get pregnant.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's her from season 3. Uh,
I thought season 2. I thought she not the one with the. She's got cancer or something. I thought she was in season 2.
I thought she was the one in season 3. You know, the one who Carrie Coon befriends? She meets in the bathroom?
No, I don't think so.
No?
No, no. She's the wife of the cop in season 2. I'm sure.
Are they both season 2?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, interesting, okay. I could have sworn it was her, the other cop that was trying to get pregnant in season 3.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure she was season
Yeah,
2.
you're probably right. You're probably right. But that's where my head went when I saw she was in Fargo.
Have you got a character name there in front of you on IMDb?
Yeah, Nanette.
Oh no, I meant from Fargo. That would have
Oh right.
told me.
All right. Sure. Let me go.
Yeah, yeah.
Let
Oh
me go
yeah, just
find it.
if I know a character name, that would answer it.
Where are we?
I
No,
know
it
her
is. Our last name's Silverson. Yeah, it's the wife.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I knew her from How I Met Your Mother as well. She's the mother in the final season.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never recognise it from that. All right, fair enough. So they're both from season 2 of Fargo. Okay, even more of a
So it's
coincidence.
a bit of a reunion.
Although, did they ever even interact in Fargo season 2?
I don't know.
Especially since her character was so much just at the house, like
She was a lot, yeah.
most of the time. So
If they did, it will have not been very much.
it's a brief, yeah. Maybe when she was out, like buying something or something like that, because he was at the butcher shop, of course. But so she's there. She's just joined the company, and she's excited to meet him. Oh, you're this great coder. I kind of joined because I kind of admire your work, and she even starts talking about, oh yeah, what was it? Space Fleet. Is this the show?
Yeah.
This big Star Trek? It's like, oh, you like and there's even a little meta joke. She's like, oh, I've got all the VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray. Now it's on Netflix. So I like that little joke. It was like, it was like a little dig at Netflix. But yeah, he's got them all up on the wall, and he's got posters up and whatnot. And she's just kind of delighted. And it was kind of nice. It was like, oh, like she doesn't just kind of treat him like this weirdo. Like, oh, this might be I mean, this is naive to think in a Black Mirror episode, but this could end up being a sweet story. Potentially.
I mean, you're right. I think every Black Mirror episode, I'm going, "Oh, is this what this is? Is this what this is?"
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Oh no, it's this. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, it's this."
And honestly, San Junipero is the only time it ended up being more positive as it went on.
Yeah,
But I mean, this isn't all doom and gloom. This episode, admittedly, it's a fairly light-hearted one. In the grand scheme of things,
it is.
to get
It's
us
very,
going.
it's very funny.
It is very funny. There's a lot of funny stuff in this one. Even when things get dark, there's some funny moments. But so we meet this girl, and she's kind of and even he's happy to see her, and he's like, oh, she seems nice, and that's all fine. And then the boss comes in, and he's like, hey, we got this deadline, and you have to this update that we're rolling
update
out,
patch. Yeah,
because it's basically a virtual reality MMO, this Infinity thing that their company does. And this update has to be out soon, and then he ends up being distracted when he's talking to the tech guy, who who's one of the guys on the bridge as well, and he's sort of distracted by by Nanette, and how the boss is kind of talking to her, and he's kind of like distracted. He's worried that he's going to swoop in and use his suave moves on her. I'm this goofy guy who's kind of quiet and whatnot.
I mean, the boss, Jimmy Simpson, is he ever not slimy in a role? I feel like he's even in Westworld though. I feel like he's just I look at him and go, I still feel like he's slimy.
That's because the first thing you know him from is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
It is, but even besides that, I feel like he's got one of those faces.
I mean, that's fair, but
I really feel like he's got one of those faces where I just look at him and go,
yeah. So he's distracted, and he goes home and he puts on his little device and he goes in, and that's when we kind of finally realise it. It confirms, okay, this is like his own modded version of this MMO game that he plays, where it's based off after the show, and he's modelled everyone after the people in the office. And now I'm saying modelled here. I'll talk about
what exactly. Yeah, that seems a little unfair.
Well, no, we'll talk about, because obviously it's not revealed at this point. I'm talking about what was going through my head at this point in the episode.
Okay.
Because at this point, obviously, I'm still kind of sympathetic to him, because I feel like this is unhealthy. Like the fact that he goes into this world and he's making his boss or his partner that he doesn't like, lie down so he can put his feet on him, and he's bossing everyone. Because especially this time, because when he goes in after this day at work, he's especially cruel to everyone. He's shouting orders at them. He's like being really harsh, and he's using phrases that they used to him at work back at them so he can get it off his system.
But we're still somewhat sympathetic to him because he was treated like shit at the office.
Yeah, and honestly, I think there's a very relatable element to it, at least so far, to this character, where his life's not that great. So much like a lot of nerds who like play, and I include us in this, right? I include just people in this, but I'm just using nerd as a sort of word to sort of cover them all. Is that you go home and you kind of just lose yourself to movies, to video games, and you just sort of let yourself go into one of those worlds, right? It's kind of that. So you kind of sympathise with him. But that said, though, it feels unhealthy. You feel like, okay, this is a bit much, because he's programmed these people, and again, at this point, this is what I'm thinking. He's programmed these people to look like the people he works with, and he's being awful to them. This feels like I almost thought at this point this episode was going to build to the ending where he was going to end up killing everyone in real life. Like this was going to be a story about a psychopath, and the slow build to the psychotic break, because it felt like that's where it was maybe going to go from here. Of course, there was big things I didn't know at this point when I was thinking that.
I'll say I'm glad it didn't, because as you just said, this is kind of the idea of people come home and they play games, and it's that wish fulfillment of they're the powerful hero now, so it's it makes you feel better. And obviously, if it had gone down that route where he'd kill people in real life, I feel like the annoying parts of the mainstream media would go, see, this is why people shouldn't play games. It makes them do violent things.
Oh, sure, if they even noticed. But I mean, I get the complaint overall of that. I don't know if I necessarily assume that it would be picked up in a mainstream
I assume
way.
it would. It's a pretty big show at this point.
But yeah, but I was okay with it going in that direction. I thought, okay, that'll be an interesting dark story that he goes off this deep end, because it would kind of tie into this idea. Because I wouldn't read it like you just read, like how the mainstream media would look at it. I would read it more of an examination of how everyone around him kind of made his life worse, and then that made him, himself shut in deeper, and it went down this like rabbit hole, and it was kind of this cycle of thing that led to this violent outbreak. Like I would have kind of seen it as an examination of that.
We would have, but
which is why I would have think like it would have been an interesting thing to do. He's at work the next day, and he sees she comes in and offers some coffee, which she comes and asks, "Do you want to get a coffee or something?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, vanilla latte with skim milk." Of all the details that I forget in most shows, I remember his coffee order.
Do you know why you remember that? It's because the guy, the first guy he asked to make it, makes a snide comment where he's like, "Oh yeah, you probably should have the skim milk." It's like, what a dick to say that to your boss. What is he thinking? Who does that? Go, yeah, you're right, boss. You could losing some weight.
I don't call him Fat Damon for nothing.
You're right. I agree, but you don't say that to your company boss.
Oh no, you do not. But then he overhears something else, because she's going, and the other I'm just looking at the character's name here, Shanna, who's she's like the Uhura on the bridge of the ship, but she's like here, and she's like goes up to him, and she's like, "Oh, you settling in?" She's just making small talk, and Nanette starts talking about how much she likes him. She's like, "Oh no, I started working here because I admire his work and he's great." And she's like, "Oh, have you got a thing for him?" And he's overhearing, and at first I'm thinking, "Oh, she's going to just say something like, oh no, not like that. I would never be into him that way, and that would hurt his feelings maybe." And yeah, it doesn't quite go down that path.
It starts that way, and then it goes further.
But then it's actually Shanna who says, "Hey, like I would keep your distance. He kind of stares sometimes. He's a bit weird." And again, I'm still on this thing of, okay, it's going to be an examination of how people treat him and how that sends him down this path. I really felt bad for him here, because I thought, well, he met someone here that actually kind of likes him, and they might connect in some, even if it's romantic or otherwise. This could be a friendship.
It seemed nice and healthy.
Yeah, and I almost thought, I actually kind of hate Shanna right here, because she's almost sniping his chances of having a friend, because she's put this idea in her head that he's a creepy guy without herself experiencing anything like that from him.
Yeah, because it's a little weird that he's standing here watching her over the room. Don't get me wrong, because he is, but he's not being that creepy to her. At least not, when they've been talking. They're just perfectly friendly.
He comes across more just a little bit socially awkward. But he doesn't know how to kind of like engage in the way people typically do. And as someone who's not that socially like
It
adept.
seems
I
perfectly
get
realistic for
Yeah.
someone like that, though. It doesn't seem like, oh no, this is a guy that's weird.
Yeah, it doesn't seem over the top. Yeah, it seems like a fairly, but and these people are all like high school bullies who just kind of like they can't just insult him to his face that much. Outside of maybe the coffee comment because he's kind of their boss, but they kind of talk about him that way when he's not around behind his back, like here, and I felt kind of bad because, like, oh man, like, is this all going to just crumble because you've put this thought in her head, and then she'll have that thought, and then it'll never develop, and then he'll feel bad because he thinks he's been rejected, and the whole thing, like, could just go on. But of course, it's after everyone leaves work at the end of the day where he just pulls out these white gloves and he starts going outside, and I'm like, holy shit, is he going to go on like a abductor or something? Like, is he just?
Yeah, it's like, where's he going with this?
And
it's got weird.
He gets her coffee cup and he's like swabbing for DNA. And he goes home and he's got like a little scanner thing and he puts it in and the scan starts, he goes to sleep and it's like, it takes all night, it's like scanning all night, it's just doing all this thing. Mm. And it's when he's actually at work again, where the bar completes.
Yeah.
And this is where you actually get to what the episode's really about.
Mm.
Because then Nonette wakes up inside the video game. And of course, it's not really her in the sense that real Nonette's still out in the world.
Yes, it's a digital copy who is exactly the same up to that point.
Yeah. So, but she has feelings. She has fear. She's terrified of what's happening, and she goes into the bridge, and all the other people are there, and they're all themselves as well. They all remember everything.
They're all just chatting.
You get the impression though they've been there for a while. Like Nate, because at one point she refers to him as the intern, and he's like, "Am I still the intern out there?"
and I have to say, I'm so glad that he asks, "Oh, what year is it?" Because I'm like, no, this is the first thing these people would ask, I think.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
How long's it been? And I know that they can't answer it because that kind of defeats the point of this show. They don't firm date it. So I thought they might just avoid asking it, but I'm glad they just asked it and then kind of brushed over it instead. That played better for me.
Yeah, no. No, don't get me wrong. I still think some of the thoughts I was having about like his environment kind of like turning him worse than he was, kind of thing is still there.
I think that's still valid.
Yeah, it's still valid. But of course, when you find out what he's really doing in here, he becomes so evil and so unsympathetic.
He shifts from the guy that we were like, oh okay, he's a bit misunderstood, to oh no, this guy's the villain.
Yeah, he's awful. So we find out that in here they all have their memories and they're basically the people they were. They're copies. It's kind of like Total Recall, just digitally. Where not Total Recall. I meant the 60, but it's another Schwarzenegger movie. But regardless, like it's like they still have all their memories, so they're still effectively them. They're just like copies.
Yeah, and they even bring it up at points. It's like, okay, but are we really us? Do we are we really alive? Because they have all the memories. Are they them or are they just code? And
it's where this is where I come to the White Christmas comparisons, where that whole episode had a thing where they'd copy the consciousness into like a virtual world, and then they'd like be trapped in there forever, like for centuries and thousands of years.
Yeah, that would be their punishment.
Yeah, and that kind of happens at the end of this episode as well. And there's a threat that it'll happen to all of them, and essentially they're essentially trying to kill themselves throughout this episode, so that they just don't exist anymore because they don't want to be in here. And there's a lot of funny stuff that comes out of all this though. Like there's a lot of jokes, of course. Some of my favourites include when they find out they have no genitalia. Well, they all know, but she finds out and it's actually Jimmy what's his name, Simpson, who he just starts to undo it, and I know what I'm going to see here.
Yeah. We all know where this is going because of the way that
but Nonette's like, hey,
what are you doing? Stop doing this! I want to see this.
Yeah, and then he pulls it down, and it's just like it's like a Ken doll. Yeah, nothing there.
He's just slapping it.
And then hell, we even rubbed together like one day at a boredom just to see if we could done it, and there was no sensation. It's so cruel. And then she looks down at herself, and she's like, "All right. Taking my pussy, that is a big red effing line." Like that's the point of no return.
Yeah, that cracked me up.
But then we get all this stuff, because what I think is really funny about this episode from a structural point of view is you spend the first 10-20 minutes introducing all these people at the office and all these characters, and then like by the end of the episode you just kind of forget about all the real versions, because the story's not really about them. I mean, it was still a valid thing to do because all these people that are in the digital world are those people, but
yeah, and it makes us, because we don't immediately attach to them in this world, even though we're like, okay, no, these are all the people from the office, but we've just kind of seen them be kind of dicks, most of them anyway.
Yeah, it's all from his perspective, so we're kind of in his sympathetic mind to an
Yeah,
extent.
exactly.
But then we come in here and we realise they're all been in here, and they all, because at first it doesn't seem that bad, at least in the sense where they all seem just kind of used to the idea, where they don't even want to try and escape. They're all just kind of like
Yeah,
whatever.
they're all just having drinks. They're like, hey, we can have anything you want.
And they're just trying to calm her down and try to get her to be over it as quickly as possible. And it's not until Daly actually comes back in and we see, okay, you have to play the part, and she's like, I'm not playing the part of this sick game, and she tries to run away and she gets beamed into the teleporter, and he turns around and he's like, it's the new officer, Nanette, like, you take your post, and she's like, F you. And like everyone else, like everyone's reaction is to whenever she like defies him.
She's got quite the foul mouth on her, hasn't she?
Once she's in here, she does. In fact, my favourite funny moment of the whole episode might actually be when the story ends and she's kind of went through it, because he does the whole thing where he threatens her with taking her face away, and it's like, that's the punishment, and you won't even die, like I can just keep you in that pain forever, because he's coded this, like he can do whatever he wants. But it's at the end, he kisses the first girl, he kisses the second one, and he goes to kiss her, and she's like, F off, I'm not kissing you. And it's Jimmy Simpson who just says something, what was the line? It's like oh my F, I think he says.
Yeah,
but it's the way he says it. It came like, it's because you don't expect an F bomb at the end of that sentence. It just like, it was just really funny. So it's a really funny episode.
That was my favourite laugh. We'll get to that one.
That wasn't your favourite laugh. Okay, we'll get to the favourite laugh for you, but so it's setting up all this stuff, so it's really funny, but at the same time, the fact that he's got them trapped in here is essentially just slaves to do his bidding every time he comes in.
Super dark.
Like, because they have a conscious, they feel things, they remember things, even if they're not technically real in the strictest sense.
But they are still people, ultimately.
Yeah, and like he keeps threatening to torture them, and then Nanette has this plan to like try and message herself from within. She's like, oh, if we can connect to like the internet still, I can send a message to myself. And I knew she was going to, because she didn't say who it's going to be, so I know who I'll send a message to, and it just cuts to the real her, and I'm like, oh, and she gets this message and she has no idea what it means, of course.
Yeah, it's just like, help, we're trapped inside the game.
Call cyber police.
Yeah.
And she obviously goes to the other, like, hey, did you send me this weird invite? And he's like, no. And obviously he knows, like, oh, they've been up to something. And he comes in and he actually turns, because we learn that he turns the ones who don't obey him into these big alien monsters to be villains on planets.
Yeah.
Because at one point they do that, and when he pauses the game, he's standing there, and that becomes a plot point.
I do love the fact that the game continues when he's not there. That's something I just love the idea of. It's essentially Toy Story. The idea that, oh no, the toys do stuff when you're not looking.
Oh, there you go. That's an interesting comparison. It's Toy Story mixed with Black Christmas or White Christmas. Episode of this with a bit of playtest, also this, and Star Trek.
Yes, of course. The obvious one. You can't miss that.
Yeah, we can't miss Star Trek. Star Trek's the first thing it's aping.
Yeah.
Lovingly, of course.
Oh, of course.
Because the whole thing is, this is his fantasy, and he's trying to, especially since there's this hypocrisy to him, where he keeps going on about how the Federation, he even calls it the Federation. He's like, the Federation, like, we uphold, the future, and we're all striving to be better. Meanwhile, he's forcing all these, like, lives to partake in his little charade.
Exactly. It's clearly he's supposed to be, he's the type of person, where Star Trek, Doctor Who, these sorts of shows that are there to, inspire people to be good, essentially, is the point of them a lot of the time. And then you have some people who just don't get it for some reason.
No,
but are still
they like it, but then they yell the minute they put a woman or a black person in a role that they didn't like.
Exactly.
That was white before.
He is this guy, that guy. He's that person.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a comment. Obviously, there's a big joke at the end, and we'll get to that at the end. But it is kind of a comment on the idea of this entitled fanboy who wants to control everything when he gets home. Like, it's the idea that the reason why a lot of assholes on the internet are assholes on the internet is because during the day they feel powerless, so they get to come home and feel powerful on the computer.
Yeah, it's the anonymity of it as well.
Yeah. So that's kind of what this is. It's taking that and then blowing it up to this like ultra real.
It's what Black Mirror does best, isn't it? Taking a concept and just running with it.
So they end up forming this plan. And it's like, well, he's paused his device to contact the real world, because they find, because he gets pizza at one point. Which, by the way, there was 2 pizza deliveries in this episode. I'm glad that I had leftover pizza waiting to be eaten, because I went and ate that immediately after finishing. I was like, no, I'm having pizza.
I had pizza yesterday.
It's whenever a character in a movie, he's like, they always start eating the slice when they're still holding the box. Like, they've taken a slice out and they're eating it.
And they're like, no, I want a box of pizza.
Yeah, I want a box of pizza. Yeah.
Pizza's just better in boxes, isn't it?
It kind of is.
It loses the appeal once you put it on a plate.
It always looks so good in TV and movies, though. Every
Yeah,
time,
but
every time I watch that first Turtles movie, I just want pizza.
yeah, obviously.
Twin Peaks donuts, Turtles pizza.
Yeah, goes without saying, really, doesn't it?
Everybody loves Raymond. Good home cooked food. Seriously, watch that show. Like, she's always cooking in that show. The grandmother.
See, that's fine, except I'm the one who does the home cooked food. So I see that and I go, ugh, I really want that, but I can't be bothered.
Yeah, you want a grandmother who just loves to cook and they'll just make you food
Yeah,
all the
I'm
time.
the one who does all the cooking here. So I'm like, that looks really nice. I could do that, but ugh, F it.
Yeah. Take it as its advantages. But yeah, so entitled gamer, entitled, or even I mean, obviously they're using gamer in this specifically, but I mean any just entitled internet person who goes online and
Yeah.
has to be the big person, has to be the I'm in control, you're wrong because you don't agree with me. It's kind of that's essentially what this guy's kind of representing.
He is the comment section.
He is, yeah. Not our comment section.
No, not necessarily.
You're
Just the
typically
comment
lovely.
section of the internet in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
some YouTube comment sections are a bit rough, but mostly we do okay.
yeah.
But so they devised this plan, and like the whole thing is that we can get onto, and this was, I mean, not super topical, but it was like obviously that whole the fappening happened a couple of years ago with the photo with iCloud, or what was it?
Yeah.
Was it iCloud?
Yeah, it was.
So it's like, I've got some photos on there that are risky, so we'll blackmail my real self with these photos, so that she'll distract him long enough, and
Yeah, and she's like, I know it'll work because it would
Yeah.
work on me.
And then it becomes bigger though when she has to actually sneak into the apartment, because we get this. I mean, what he's already doing is super evil because he's enslaved all these people. But then we get this story of how he convinced, because Jimmy Simpson was the first one because he was the one that he hated the most, so he was the first person he put in here.
Yes.
And we find out.
Also, I forgot to mention, the two of them there, very Jobs and Wozniak. The brains and the public
Sure, yeah.
perception.
Also, I thought it was interesting just because obviously he was on Westworld, and I feel like he's not quite a robot in this, but I'm getting like transferring consciousness and
Okay,
copies.
let's see where you're going.
It's not a million miles away from that. But he was the first one, and he couldn't break him. Like, he wouldn't like fold. It didn't matter what he did to him. He'd make him hurt. He'd make him suffocate. He'd do everything. It wouldn't work. So he got DNA from his son, who was 6 years old at the time. He could be any age now. We have no idea how much time has passed, of course, since this. I mean, he looks the same age. So I'm going to guess it's at least less than 10 at most.
Yeah, a few years probably
Yeah.
at most.
But so he brings his son in. He lets him see his son, and then immediately just puts him in the airlock and shoots him out into space and makes him watch. And because he knows that he feels like the real person with all the memories and feelings, he knows his son that died felt it.
Felt that.
Yeah, like
And
he
then that's
really
the question:
suffered that.
did he die? Because they don't die unless he wants them to. They can just feel that.
I think he did, because I think he has no reason to keep him around. I think the idea is that he'll just put another one in every time he wants to do
That's
it.
true. But just the threat of that is like, no, yeah. At some point, he could have just reminded him, going, "Look, he's still out there."
I think especially the idea of like having him fresh every time, especially since the 6-year-old kid will be the one that he remembers and knows. Because if he
And
brings
he'll always go back to the 6-year-old. Yeah.
Because if he goes to like, if he gets the kid's DNA now, who maybe he's like 10 or 12 or something, like, okay, it'll be his kid, but it'll be a bit weirder because he won't like know that version as intimately.
Yeah.
So that'd hit him when it hurts. So for the plan to properly work, not only did they have to distract him, and they have to, because the update, because obviously we knew this update that was going on Christmas Eve was going to be important because they kept mentioning it. So the plan is to fly through the wormhole, which is how the game represents. Now this is the only thing where I'm not going to call bullshit on, but I'm just going to say, okay, this just is because it is for the plot, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Not necessarily. But...
I mean, the fact that they can still beam up things and down, like, whilst the game's paused is like, okay. I don't know why anything works when it's paused, but sure.
It's Toy Story.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I'm just thinking on a realistic term
course.
for the game,
Well, that's it. I think the point of that is to show that he doesn't have all the control. It's an illusion, like
Yeah.
in the same way that the internet bullies think they've got all this power. They don't really. It's just they feel better because it looks like they do, but they don't. The world still happens around them, even though they're doing their thing.
Yeah. Well, at least on an online game anyway, but it's a persistent world, which this is supposed to be, even though he's kind of on an offline version of it.
Yeah, but it's not entirely offline.
Yeah.
That was the whole concept here.
Yeah, but it is built to exist when he's not there.
Yes.
Because that's what everyone's playing. And so they go through all this plan, and real Nanette's like sneaking in and ordering them pizza, and we have all these things, and Nanette in the game is like sort of like distracting him by like making him go into the water. and all the rest of it. I thought it was interesting that they did that whole thing with the obviously no genitalia, but also he never kisses with tongue because he believes he's better than that. That was an interesting point because at first I was like, is that just a really sort of simple, quick way of making us feel not too icky about this? Because like if he was, because he could go one step further and design all these people to like be sexually functional, so he could do that with them, and that would be really like dark. That would be even darker.
Well, that's it. He took the step to remove the genitals.
Yeah,
that was an extra piece of work on his part because
you could argue it's almost a way of making him feel more powerful. Like, are you taking the power away from these people by removing that part of them? Like, especially in his like sort of mindset where he's like constantly like eyeing up these girls in the office, and he's jealous of like the other boss like hitting on them. Like, is he taking away their genitalia because their penises and their vaginas are their power to him? Like, is that like maybe something you could read into there?
I wonder if it's trying to tell us that he's actually a virgin, and he's like he's kind of almost scared of it all.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, you could read it that way. The idea that he's like, no, you all had sex, and I haven't. So I'm not leaving you here so that you can do it while I'm not around.
Yeah, he doesn't want them getting up to it when he's not there. No, I can see that.
Yeah, I don't want you having something I can't, essentially.
No. But like I said, just the idea that those represent power in some way, at least to him.
Yeah,
definitely. And arguably they're not really, but you can sort of interpret them in a lot of ways as that, depending on the story. So you got that, and all this is going down, big thing, and when I say like there's some stuff that don't quite add up, the whole idea that once he finds out they're up to something, and they're driving the ship towards the wormhole, and they're going through the asteroid field and all the rest of it. The idea that he has to physically get this other ship and chase them, I thought, okay, I'll stretch my disbelief, because part of me feels like he could just exit the game and just start coding.
He could, but how long would that take?
Yeah, maybe too long. That's maybe how you could explain it. But like, I just like that was the first thought I had: is why do you have to chase them in game with a ship? As if you're actually in the story. Where I feel like you could just like exit the game and
No, I get you.
Especially if they're in this weird offline section of the game, could he not just like close it and like shut it all off before they get to the wormhole? Because they technically wouldn't be connected to anything anymore.
That's quite possible, yeah.
Yeah, like I say, it sounds like I'm nitpicking. I'm not really. It's just the sort of thing that was running through my head when I was sort of questioning all these little things as it was going on. Because for the most part, I was having a blast with all this stuff.
Oh, this was great stuff.
Yeah.
That we kind of just went over what was my favorite laugh.
Oh, go on.
Was where they got on the ship. He's off with the pizza stuff, and they've beamed Nanette back up, and she's like, right, let's go. He's there going, you got to say something, engage, something like that, and she just looks at him and goes, just effing go.
Yeah, her potty mouth was getting quite entertaining towards the end of this. It
cracked me up, just the delivery of it.
Yeah, but yeah, that kept going, and actually another laugh I liked was when he's on comms talking to them. He's like, "Oh, pick up! I know you can hear me," and he keeps monologuing, and eventually, like, "Why are we listening to this?" And then like the comms girl just goes, "Oh yeah, let's just turn them off."
Yeah, there's like so many just funny moments, like when they're going through her pictures. Account.
It shows you the first few that are just she's in underwear. It's a little risque, but not like super revealing.
Yeah, and then it cuts away, and we just see their reaction, and they're just clicking through it, and he goes,
"Should stop."
So which one should we stop? He goes, "Yeah, any of the last 9 will do."
No, yeah, that was the thing. I think it was a very intentional thing to have as much humor as there was, because the concept is actually really dark when you start to think about it.
It is, and here's where I'm going to say it makes me worried for the rest of the season, because God. I feel like this is easing us in.
Well, that's the thing. Last year there was like there was ebb and flow. There was roller coaster. There was shut up and down, just wrecked us. Here's Sandra and Pearl to cheer you back up. And I think I even joked in that review the next one probably has a Holocaust in it. And sure enough, the next one kind of had a Holocaust in it. But there was up and down, and I feel like because last season I think started with a fairly light-hearted episode.
Reasonably,
not playtest. The vote one, I can't remember what it was called, but the ones where you rated everyone. I think that Nosedive, that was what it was called. I knew it would come to me. So so I feel like the next one might be really dark. I would bank money on that. I think 3 might be a bit more uplifting, and 4's going to tank us again, maybe.
I'm just see that's the thing. On this system, we end depressed.
That's true. But life is depressing, so what do you want from it?
That's true. That's true. Damn you, Black Mirror. Too accurate.
So they fly through the wormhole. Of course, Jimmy Simpson, he actually sacrifices himself because he has to essentially die while he's here, which means he doesn't actually die. He'll just be kind of reborn because he's still under his control. Although, given how it ends with Daly, I would maybe question what happens to him now.
Was he not on the bridge at the end with the rest of them?
I don't think so.
I got because I thought the way I was reading it wasn't that he had to die, but he had to go in because he had to go into the engine room, right? And
yeah, but when he turned it back on, it would flame him.
Yeah, it would flame him, and he would be there burning, but without dying. That was like the whole thing. He had to just endure that pain.
But he wasn't there because he wasn't there at first, and then the two who were in the brig as monsters, they came back. They came out.
Right. Okay. I can't remember that. Maybe I misremembered because I watched this like as soon as it went live.
Yeah. Nah, I don't think he was here. I think that was an actual sacrifice. Like that actually.
Because I was taking it. Well, he's still on the ship. He'll get through the wormhole and he'll be with the rest of them. Because there's no reason that just being on the bridge is the trick to this, right?
No, it's not being on the bridge is the trick to it. No, not at all.
Exactly. So why would he have had to stay behind? He still made it through the wormhole.
Because he got eviscerated before they went through it. Like I don't think there's anything physically left of him. And even regardless, I don't really think... Well, it's not even worth debating. He's not there at the end.
Oh, fair enough. I'm obviously just misremembering.
No, I'm sure he's not there. You make me question myself now, but I'm pretty sure he's not there at the end.
I'm not sure now. I said it was
like I say, I think
many hours ago when
I think that was a genuine sacrifice, especially since it builds up to it, and the fact that he talks to him over the comms. He's like, "No, I'm going to talk to you," and I should have said sorry. And I kind of like this. It was like going back to this idea that they kind of made him worse than what he was by the way they treated him. Like he was kind of like, "Yeah, I kind of screwed you over. I kind of made millions off your ideas, and I probably should apologize for the way I've been with you, but you made me watch my son die, so f you to hell." And
yeah.
Pull the trigger. So it was a nice moment for him, but it was a sacrificial thing. I especially like it in the sense that because he was the first one who presumably treated him and exploited him the most first, he kind of started this path. Like he's the one who sees himself as maybe the most responsible for how he is.
He kind of accepts that in that monologue. Yeah, he's like, I probably should apologize because I recognize that I was not a good person.
Yeah,
but you went too far.
No, he did go too far. Absolutely. Like this is the thing. You're sympathetic with him up until a point, and then you see how evil he's being, and it's like, no, this has created an actual monster. Like he's an actual monster.
Yeah.
Daily in this episode. So, there's a lot of layers to this. It's actually got a lot of commentary in what it's talking about, which is really nice. But of course, we do get the happier ending because they think they're just going to like erase from. They think when they go through the wormhole, the update will see, oh, there's some rogue code. We'll just delete that. Instead, what it does is that it actually kind of rewrites them to be a part of the game properly. So they're kind of real people with memories in the game. They've got all their genitalia back for a start, so they're all happy about that. Sexy times. And they've got new uniforms, and they're all themselves, but there's no one controlling them. They're just in the game now. They present themselves as another player because another player in this MMO game decides to hail them and wants to contact them, and they're like, yeah, put them through. And it's just this douchebag who's like, you got into trade. It's just the typical asshole you get over it.
This douchebag. Did you not recognise who it was?
No.
Oh, that was Aaron Paul.
Oh no, I had no idea.
Oh, did you not? Oh, I heard it instantly. I thought you'd have clocked. Sorry.
I literally had no idea that was anyone recognisable.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I thought you'd know because I think he's got such a recognisable voice. I don't know.
There was like com noise over it and stuff. I don't know.
Fair enough.
He's over the comms and he's basically just your typical asshole on a video game who's like,
yep.
Hey, douchebags, why you get into trade? Oh, if you don't have anything to trade, why did you answer my call, you lame assholes? You know what? Just for that, I'm going to blow you to Kingdom Come, and he's going to like fire their phasers at him, and they're all just like, who is this asshole? Like, well, we got it. And again, Nonette, just to round out the episode with one more, bit of fill language, she's like, get us the F out of here. Like, that's her command.
And off they go to play better No Man's Sky.
Yes.
Essentially,
yeah. In fact, it's funny you say that because I actually thought of No Man's Sky earlier on in the episode. It was when Fat Damon was on the little shuttle and he came off the planet and we actually see from inside the cockpit the entire time and it goes up in space. I was like, that was just basically No Man's Sky that moment.
Yeah. I mean, this whole concept of this game, this procedurally generated world that's just that huge, so there's that much to do. That's what No Man's Sky was promised to be.
That's what it was trying to be.
Yes. Yes, exactly. It obviously didn't live up to that, but that's what it was supposed to be. So this is just that done properly.
Yeah, in theory. Well, it's easy when you don't actually have to make the game. You
Exactly.
can just show
But
parts of it and pretend.
and it's in the future. It's fine. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Actually, I like the almost like weird commentary. I don't think it was. I don't know if this was intentional, but the idea that this was easy to show because we could just show parts of it, and it looks really impressive because of that. We didn't actually have to make the whole game. When in actual fact, that's why No Man's Sky kind of failed, was because it showed you just these specific parts. It looked really impressive, and then when people actually played the full game, it was like, oh, that was just all smoke and mirrors. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, they showed us like, the same couple of little bits over and over again.
And that's it. And obviously, Brooker's proper into gaming in general.
Oh,
so
yeah,
he'll be well onto this.
Oh, that's why this joke at the end about this just this random asshole gamer on the internet plays so well.
So well, doesn't it? Yeah.
But especially since the whole idea is they've gotten out of this hellhole only just to realise, oh shit, we're going to have to interact with these gamers now.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's still like it's quite a hopeful, uplifting ending. It's like, well, we're free. We can go around. We've got a universe.
It's uplifting for them. Fat Damon's halfway through the vortex when all this goes down and it closes on him, and he's basically just left in there. He's saying exit game, end game, and he can't. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it's registered that this version shouldn't exist.
Yeah, so he's actually out in his real body. He's just lying there catatonic.
Yeah.
So.
And he'll be dead in a few days.
So in a weird way, it's the ending of both Playtest and White Christmas, because he's trapped in the game forever. It's not even a copy of himself, it's technically really him. And then on top of that, the idea of his real body's lying there dead with this device attached to him.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think he is trapped in there forever in this specific case compared to the others, because his body's not dead yet. He's just in the game.
So you think when his body dies, he'll just
because he's not a copy. It's his actual brain functions that's there. So once he dies,
that's true.
His brain will shut off.
I never thought of that. I was kind of just thinking this is like the perfect punishment. He'll just be in there forever.
On his own forever. Yeah. No, I get that. I like that idea, but I don't think it actually is that one this time.
It just depends, though. It depends what happens when his body dies.
I mean, if they tell me it does, then fine. But
it's never going to. It doesn't matter.
No, exactly.
I think he's in there forever. It's darker that way.
It is.
So
better.
I'm going with that. But no. So that was the first Black Mirror season 4.
Yeah. Oh, just a thing because we don't really ever have to talk about this in Black Mirror. The effects were fantastic.
Oh yeah, they were. It was obviously, this is the thing, because it was meant to be a video game, they could have gotten away with shoddy left and right.
And just gone, it was mediocre graphics.
But generally speaking, it looked quite pretty, and you had the spaceship flying through the asteroid field and stuff were quite good.
Planets looked gorgeous.
Yeah, no, it was very pretty.
Yeah.
You had the, again, very Galaxy Quest-esque music at times for the TV show's theme.
You did.
So you had that, you had the whole shebang. So I'm impressed because it started off feeling a lot like Galaxy Quest, and then it's like, no, this is a completely different plot from then
that's
on.
it. Up until you had the opening, and then you see him in the elevator, and I was like, okay, was he the actor still, doing the Galaxy Quest thing?
Yeah, and because obviously once you get to the point where it's like, it's a virtual reality, and this is him fantasizing. Okay, now it's different enough anyway, but then it goes into this real dark territory where
yeah.
So
yeah, exactly, definitely different.
But no, I thought it was a really strong episode. I thought what it's analysing about this type of person was spot on. It really delved into that in a really interesting way. The other characters got a win, and I think it's fascinating. It doesn't actually matter what happens to the real people, because we know they're all fine. They're just living their lives. They're good.
Yeah, and they're free from Fat Damon. He's never going to come and get them again.
Yeah, I mean, Nanette, of course, had her one little scare where she had to do all this shit because she was being blackmailed, but nothing will ever come of it. She'll be fine now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, no.
She'll maybe improve her security.
She'll maybe delete that account on iCloud. Maybe.
Yes. Get rid of those pictures.
I think that may be what she'll do next.
Put them in an offline storage.
Yeah. Also, I like that she predicted what her real version would say, because she's like, "Oh, screw you, Elliot, you asshole," and then the next text that comes is like, "Oh, by the way, I'm not Elliot."
Yeah.
So she knew she would think that. It's like, no. No, solid episode, solid again. Relatively, and it's weird to say this is lighthearted given how dark the actual subject is.
But because it plays so much humor, because it has quite an upbeat ending. The villain gets his just deserves the heroes, so to speak. They're free. It's relatively good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think almost if you wanted to go a bit more hopeful with it, you'd have maybe someone would find him and like sort of wake him up and like take him out of the machine, and he'd been there for maybe like a few days at that point, just stranded in space, and maybe he'd learned a lesson or something. Maybe he'd be, become a better person
See,
because of it.
that's maybe more hopeful in that sense, but it's not satisfying.
All right, I'm just saying maybe that'd be a more hopeful ending with him. Maybe he'd learn something, but of course we have to go dark and like kill him.
He's beyond learning. Let's just deal with it.
Not that I'm saying he doesn't deserve it, because he does. Like
He does. That's why it's satisfying.
Yeah, there you go. So that is the first Black Mirror. We'll be back probably about the same time tomorrow, by the time this goes up, I imagine, with the next episode. We will probably skip one day, New Year's. There's a chance we'll have to skip both days. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping we squeeze out episode 3 early on New Year's Eve. At least recording wise, so it can go up sometime. And then we'll be back to once per day, starting the 2nd. Just blame Netflix for launching this on the 29th of December. I'd happily do it, but Connor wants to get drunk on New Year's Eve night, so he's going to be too hungover.
To be fair, my girlfriend's got New Year's off for the first time in like 4 years, so she wants to do something. So that means I'm going to be drunk.
Yeah. Go to a rave.
I'm not going to a rave. Christ.
So that's the first one. So by all means, let us know what you thought of this in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. And let's see if we get a gut punch like Shut Up and Dance this year.
We will. I'm just waiting for it. I don't know when.
Yeah.
I don't know when, but it's there.
Of course, by all means, there's only spoilers for this episode. Do not talk about the other 5 in the comments, please. Anyone who does will be swiftly blocked and whatnot, and all the rest of it. So yeah, so we'll be back with the next episode tomorrow around the same time, give or take. So thank you very much for watching. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can do that over there, and there's a link to that in the description, as well as some other useful links. Get us on the Twitters at mail_fuzz, but otherwise that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?